and welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode, we are going to get real and raw. I'm so excited to have our guest, our interviewee of today, my friend Carly Pepin, and she is a consultant who specializes in human behavior. So let's welcome her on to the podcast. Hi.
Hi, great to be here.
I am so excited for our talk because even though we're going to get very, down in the dirt, real and raw, and kind of talk about some things that a lot of new business owners and look, senior business owners are still struggling with. I think that by the time we finish talking, people will have a better understanding that they're not alone, that all of us are kind of going through these things, and then hopefully we can give them some insight and some motivation on what to do to kind of get out of all the funk and the things that we don't want to, all the feelings we don't want to feel. So that's kind of the goal for today. But before we dive into that, can you briefly just tell us a little bit more about you and who do you work with?
Yeah, so individuals come to me, business owners, entrepreneurs, to help them to overcome any places that they're stuck or stagnant, either in their business or in their life. Because even though sometimes, we want to focus on our business, sometimes it's actually the challenges in life that are keeping us stuck in our business that are our main focus at that time. So I work with them to help them overcome it so they can move forward into their vision and their purpose.
I love that, moving forward in their vision and their purpose. And I actually was reading some of the answers you gave us prior to coming on to the podcast. And the thing that stuck out to me was this phrase. You said you help people create a life by design instead of a life of duty. I was like, finger snaps there. I was like, okay, a life by design. And I love it because I think for me, I'm always telling people life isn't happening to me, it's happening for me, and I want to be the conductor of that life. I want to be in control and be able to decide what I'm going to do. And I think that kind of speaks to that phrase, creating a life by design instead of a life of duty. And so just based on that, tell me a little bit more. Why did you say that? Like what does that phrase mean to you?
Yes. So every day we have an option to create a life that we wake up that we're inspired to have, or we create a life, or not even create it. We're just basically succumbing to a life that we have all these different duties. And when we have those, there's going to be a lot of shoulds, have to, supposed to, must, need to, ought to. So we're basically subordinating to an outside world, an outside perception of what our life is going to look like. And that's why it feels like duty, because it's not a life you actually want. When we create a life by design, it's not to say that I'm telling you you're going to have the most happy and joyful life ever. You guys are business owners, you have challenges, but it's picking your challenges. And that's what actually makes it inspiring, because if you wake up every day with a challenge that you want to overcome, it's not going to feel defeating. It's not going to diminish you to the degree as if you're waking up every day facing challenges you have no interest in overcoming. Those are self-defeating. So that's a life of duty, as opposed to creating that life by design, something that you love to do. And you feel like you're on your purpose. You feel like you're on your mission every day. That's inspiring.
Yes, I love that. And I think most of the people listening are people who really want to monetize their passion, things they are very passionate about, things that make them want to get out of bed every morning. I think, but an overlining thing that I hear a lot from a lot of, especially new business owners, is this feeling of self doubt or imposter syndrome. They're like, who's going to buy my product? Who's going to, listen to me? Who am I? And I always tell people, like, you're an expert, you got this. But do you tend to find that a lot of business owners have that too, like self-doubt and imposter syndrome? And like, how do you help them get over it?
Yes, and you have it at every different level, and I don't want anyone to be under the illusion that just because you're starting out, like, that's why you have imposter syndrome. I've worked with individuals who have very just startup companies, and I also work with individuals who have been centimillionaires within their companies, and everyone has imposter syndrome, because at every level, what winds up happening is you're gonna keep comparing yourself to someone who you think is doing better than you, and even if you're a centimillionaire and your business is booming, there's still someone out there that you're comparing yourself to. So imposter syndrome is a result of comparing ourselves to one or many people that we're perceiving have something better than us or doing better than us, have skills. As you were saying, when you talk to someone, you're like, you are a genius. You have that genius inside you. When you keep comparing yourself to someone else's form of genius, what's going to happen? You're going to diminish your own. I love Einstein's quote, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to spend its whole life feeling like it's stupid. That's imposter syndrome at its core. If you judge yourself by your ability to be someone else, to have a company like someone else, a business, to display yourself like someone else, you're going to spend your whole life feeling like you're stupid. The point of it is to actually catch those comparisons and find out where you have that in yourself in your own unique form, because that's your life purpose demonstrating in your values what's important to you, and that's your unique genius, and that's what people want ultimately.
Exactly. There, people don't realize the things that make us different, the things that set us apart, the things that make us unique are the things people really gravitate towards because they can see themselves in you. And I'm like, people just miss out on that. I'm like, you're the coolest ever. Like, people are gonna flock to you for your personality, for your unique selling point. And I think that you kind of emphasize that. And I always say, competitor is the thief of joy. Like the fact that you're constantly comparing yourself to other people that, like you said that you perceive, you don't even know, you're like, oh my God, they have 10,000 Instagram followers. They must be doing something so amazing. And it's like, yeah, they have 10,000 Instagram followers that they purchased and nobody's buying their products and they're living in their parents' basement. You do not know. And you over there stressed out thinking, woe is me. Nobody likes my post. It's like, come on now. So we have to sometimes change our thoughts and realize that we only, especially because we're in the age of social media, we only see what people want us to see. The thing that they've curated of themselves, right? It's not their true self. You're not seeing every day behind the scenes. You're not seeing they cry every morning or what the case may be. So we have to stop always being in that state of comparison. What is the next person doing? But let's talk about another kind of common thread that we see a lot in entrepreneurs, and that's being completely overwhelmed and stressed out, especially because a lot of people are solo entrepreneurs in the beginning. They're wearing all the hats, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just got off a call earlier. Someone is like, I just can't do it all. Like, I don't have enough days in the week, and even if I got more, I would use those days up too. So, what are some things we can do to help with like the feelings of stress and overwhelm?
Yes. Okay. So there's a couple components to this is that the reality is if we're filling our plate every day with things that we don't want to do, if it's not necessary, you guys just drop it. I'm just straight up saying just drop it until it's actually something that's really important and really vital and really valuable. Because if you keep trying to push yourself to get something done that you truly hate doing, that you don't want to do, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to procrastinate, you're going to frustrate, you're going to beat yourself up for not doing it, right? And something as simple as sometimes I hear people say, I need a website, I need a website. I've been in this business for 10 years and I have a flourishing practice, and barely anyone goes to my website. Barely anyone goes to my website. So when people say I can't have a business until I get a website of, but I hate building the website, it's like, don't put it up. Find your other way to go out and create your clientele. Do what you love. Do what you're inspired to do. If you love to take yoga classes, get out there and go take those yoga classes. Part of where I get a lot of clients is just going to events that I love to go to. So instead of sitting down and beating myself up and overwhelming myself with work that's uninspiring, I'm actually like, where do I create the most clients? It's doing things that I love. It's connecting, it's networking, it's marketing. So that's one big component to overwhelm. The other thing, you guys, because I know that sometimes we can't say no to certain things and we still don't like it and we still don't love to do it. So if you can't afford to delegate it yet, totally okay. It's asking yourself some quality questions. Whatever is like most important you to ask yourself, like, how does this serve that specific thing? Like, I love learning, I love growing, I love personal development. So if I have to sit here and do IT one day, I'll be like, how is this helping me with my personal development? How is this helping me with my growth? And when I answer that question, I start to see the unseen beauty and I start to see like what I couldn't see before, what I can actually gain out of this. And then at a certain point, guys, if you answer that enough, you'll be like, okay, I want to do this. Like, I can actually see like this is pretty cool. So if you can't delegate it, ask those questions. And delegation is also really important because remember, if you actually wrote down and made a list of everything that you don't want to do and how much you make per hour and how much it would cost to delegate, you're going to look at that and you're going to be like, wow, I'm actually really wasting some time on some tasks that I could be delegating for a way better price. And the cool thing about delegation as well, I mean, it's a great personal development experience in itself, a growth experience, self-confidence, just learning about yourself and how to manage people is a fantastic experience. It's a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful next step in your business. And as you have one person to many people, it's just a really great opportunity for growth as well. So it also pays and it pays you in different ways than just having some help on the side.
I hear that. Look, I know some people heard the P word when you were talking. I was like, not the P word, procrastination. I was like, yes, that word gets a lot of us. I always tell myself, I'm like, I'm a really good liar. I lie to myself all the time and say, I'm busy. I'm doing all these things. This is why I didn't get that done. It's like, no, I am the queen of procrastination. And I think there are probably some queens and kings of procrastination listening right now, where you've told yourself you're busy, or you couldn't get to it because of that, or you got other things like building that website. Even though you don't know how to do websites, you're going to spend 2 weeks on it versus sending out that email to a prospective client because you're afraid of what they might say, right? That's what happens all the time. I find that I procrastinate more than likely it's because I'm scared or cautious about doing a task that brings me outside of my comfort zone. Things that come easy, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll go live because I like going live. But have me send an email, I'm like, no. And so sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves, I think, and look and say, where's our time really going? One of the activities I have my clients do is actually audit their time and say, where's my time going? And then like prioritize what they want to get done every day and make it like really manageable. Because like we're talking about overwhelm and stress. I think it's very overwhelming to look at your planner or look at your schedule and see it just stacked. And you're like, I can't get to it. And so how do you deal with that? Like you're a business owner, you're juggling so many things. How do you keep track of like your schedule in a way that doesn't feel like it's overwhelming or there's too many things on your plate to actually get accomplished?
I'm making sure, again, this is where I go back. I'm making sure that it's something that I would really want to do and making sure it's like the highest priority. So I'll make a list of everything. Like what I'll usually do is I'll break down my business goals, right? Like I have the coaching practice and then I started a vacation rental business. And I'll break down the vision, right? And I'll break down all the things that I think I can do. Like, let's say I want to create more one on one clients or create more workshop clients. It's like, okay, how do I do that? I could do podcasts. I could write books. I write all these things down. And then I actually go through the list. And as opposed to just doing it all, I say, what do I want to do and what don't I want to do? And it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it forever. Like when you guys write that list down, it doesn't mean you're not going to do it for the rest of your life. It just means that right now you don't want to. So don't do it because you're not going to do it. You're going to procrastinate. Focus on the list of the thing that you want to do the most and you're most inspired by. Because then, even if it's challenging, you're like, I still want to wake up and give that a try. I still want to do it. It's a rough day and I'm feeling comfortable and imposter syndrome came in, but I really wanted this. So I'm going to do it anyways. And that's why it's really important to focus on all the things that you would love to do, not the things that you should do. So write down those lists, make them as exhaustive as possible, and then only focus on the highest priorities. And that's what I do. So podcasts, I love speaking. I really do love speaking. And so this year it was all about podcasts. I was like, okay, I'm going to do more podcasts this year. And that's been my main focus. And I've actually like every week I spend some time like reaching out to people, connecting with people. And guys, sometimes I don't even hear back from people. Like I get a lot of no's. I get completely ignored. Like I think I'm getting rejected all the time. I forget who I'm getting rejected by because I'm just applying to so many things. But it doesn't matter because again, it's the highest priority and it's something that I love to do, right? I love to do. And then when I have the opportunity to do it, I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm going to show up even if it's a hard day, right? Even if it's a really challenging day, even if it's a busy day. So making sure you're prioritizing and then write it down in your calendar. I like my calendar because I like to see it hour by hour. That's really important to me. But I know some people like to have journals. If you're more of a handwritten person, have a journal. If you want it on your phone. The other thing is finding the best way to do it for you. Everyone, it's different. My husband loves apps. He's testing out apps all the time. And after he finds something he really loves, he'll usually send it to me. But he loves apps. So he's organizing everything on apps. So find something that's a really inspiring way for you to do it. It could even be visuals, whiteboards, anything that you love, so that every day you get to wake up and you get to say, this is my highest priority. And this is what I would love to do. And I don't want to wait. Like, I just don't want to wait. Let's do it.
I love that. Like I was sitting here thinking, like, what do I do? I'm like hybrid. I have my planner for my hourly, and then I put my schedule in my like calendar online, and then I do have a huge whiteboard with like my monthly goals because I like to be able to see it big and mark it off big. I like that feeling of being like, ugh. And so I have this huge whiteboard that I use. And so I was thinking, yeah, I'm definitely like a hybrid girl. I like a little this, little that. But I love how you said, like, find what works best for you. Because sometimes I think we try to look at what other people who maybe are, again, perceived to be successful are doing. And they're like, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. and I'm knocking out 20
Uh-huh.
things. And you're like, I cannot move until 10. It's like, then don't move till 10. Figure out what works
Perfect.
best for you. I love that. But one thing I've been listening to you speak, and I'm like, man, she's so positive. Like it's just like oozing out of you. And I'm wondering, like, especially when I was first starting my business, I was not a nice person to myself. Like internally, my self talk was not very positive. So I can imagine, and this again, this is perceived. I'm like, if I was you, your voice and the way you're talking, I'm like, I wake up and be like, let's get this day going. Like we got this. And I'm like, I know for me and people who probably like me, we wake up in the morning, we're like, oh gosh, we're up. Like we gotta get started. So how do we help like switch our mindset to have more positive self-talk to help us do these things you're talking about finding the joy in things and all of that? Like, can we do anything or are we just stuck being like a negative self-talker?
No, and here's the thing too, guys, like negative self-talk, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's actually just a thing. When we think about negative self-talk, it actually balances it out sometimes when we're over positive, right? So let's say I wake up and I think that whatever I'm doing today is the best thing that I'm ever going to do, and I'm all elated about it, and I have a large amount of pride, and I see no drawbacks, no challenges that can occur. That's actually doesn't have any foresight, right? Like I don't have any foresight about the problems that could happen. If I was all elated about even hopping on this podcast, I wouldn't have been on my computer 15 minutes earlier and I got to fix some tech issues ahead of time before I got on because I wasn't elated like, oh my God, this is going to be the best. This is going to be a perfect morning, right? I was really realistic. We're like, yeah, this is going to be great. I actually have a little bit of a problem with my computer right now. So how do I tackle that beforehand? How do I prepare? I actually look at all the drawbacks and the things that can happen. I look at the negative things so I could pre-plan and prepare for it, right? And the cool thing about that too is that it also gives us the insight that like we're not seeking out a one-sided goal. Like inspiration isn't a one-sided goal. Your purpose isn't a one-sided goal. Your purpose has both challenge and support on the journey, and it's there to help you to understand who you are. Like if you had everything positive and everything was simple and easy, the challenge with that is that you wouldn't actually have to overcome anything and you would never know what you're capable of. And to me, that's just awful. That's so sad to never know how much power you have inside you and how much you can accomplish and achieve and how much you can overcome. Like having these challenges in business, say it all the time. It's one of the best personal development journeys you can ever go on, learning how to overcome all these things, right? It's quite phenomenal. And to wake up every day and say like, oh, I get to do this today is, like I said, building that life by design, making sure that every day the list of things that you are going to do are things that you really want to do. Ask yourself, like, is this alignment with what I really love? Is this in alignment with the life that I want to create? Is this in alignment with my vision and my future? And if it's not, can I start to let a lot of these things go? Is this not going to be as important to me anymore? And it really is starting to just not just say yes to things, but also say no to things so that when you wake up, you say, every day I have something that I really want to do. And that makes it so that when you wake up, it's not like, oh, just like another day. It's like, okay, cool. It is another day. And I do have some stressful things on my plate, but I'm really grateful because these are all the things that I want to do. This is the life that I designed. And all these challenges that I'm facing are going to actually help me accomplish my long-term vision, my long-term goals. And I feel purposeful as I overcome them. So it's a really important dynamic is connecting to your purpose, connecting to your authentic self, and literally building your life around that individual.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing shift in perspective to realize, like you said, everything isn't going to be great all the time, but those challenges just give us more to put towards our personal journey. Because I was thinking to myself, I had a client one time who wanted to do like motivational speaking. She was like, but I've never really overcome something really big. And I was like, first of all, you probably have. You probably just aren't thinking it. Like everybody goes through challenges, but also a lot of you guys who are listening, part of why you got into entrepreneurship is because you overcame something, you learned something, you excelled at something. And I think that you didn't do that because it was easy. You did it because you were passionate about it. You did that because you were resilient in it. And I think that just adds to your story. That adds to your uniqueness. And that's what, again, draws people to you and wants, people want to work with you because of that. So I love that you were like, yeah, the challenges, and oh my gosh, I love saying no. They have that book, what is it, Year of Yes? I have the Year of No. I remember when I learned the power of no in my business, because I was getting pulled. Everybody wanted me to do something, an organization, church, whoever. And then when I learned how to say no, I was like, oh my god, where has this word been in my life? Because it gave me so much more time. It gave me autonomy over the things I wanted to do, the projects, the direction of those projects. And y'all, if y'all haven't started using that word no, add it to the vocabulary, because it is amazing. So again, I just love that you have that perspective of both sides of things, because I think we don't often think of it that way. We think either of only the negative or hoping for only the positive. And I love that even in the negative or in the things that aren't so great, we can find the beauty and the benefit in those things. So thank you for that perspective. That was good, y'all. She dropped some tea there. But I love it. So I want to ask you, because I know you do this human behavior work day in and day out in your business. What are maybe three things that are things that you see the most often, and how do you help your clients get through those challenges?
So, a really big component is self doubt. So, that's a huge one. The self doubt in believing that they can't do something, they're not able to accomplish something, like they're lacking something, right? And it's really fascinating because overcoming it it's just like giving yourself permission to actually see where you've already done these things in your life in your own form, right? In your own form. Because anything that you admire in someone in the outside world, where you have the self-doubt and you say, oh, well, maybe I can't speak, right? I can't speak like you guys because I've never done it before. I've never been that person before. Well, if you can actually go identify how you've done it in your own form, you're going to find, and this one's actually really simple. Very simple. Anytime you're talking about something that you're really inspired by, you're going to flow. You're going to flow like it's nobody's business. You can go and look at even when you're talking to your family and it's something, or friends, and something that's really inspiring, and all of a sudden you're flowing. You sound like you're on a podcast, right? And you're speaking. That's all that speaking is. It's just us talking about things that we're confident in because we love it. We're just talking about things we love. If you start talking about something that you are uncertain about and that you don't have any like you're not sure in yourself or your information, you're gonna start to stumble. You're gonna have a gap. And so part of it is like, first find, like even if you go look and you're like, go see, where do I actually speak and have fluent speech just like this person? You're going to go see the topics you have great fluency on. Go talk about those things. Get out in the world and talk about them. Make little Instagram videos and stuff, right? And overcoming those self-doubts. So part of it is definitely doing the inner work. And then the other part is taking those action steps to move forward, right? That's really important. I say it all the time. Like, we can get great results on a consultation. And I know you know this as well, Corey. Like, we can get great results. But if we're not actually taking action in our lives, like, it's just the work we do together is just, it's nothing. It's nothing. So it's twofold there, making sure you're taking action. And the second thing is, a lot of times people are pursuing the shoulds, the have tos, the needs, and the musts, right? All the things that they think they need to do. And this is a really easy trap to fall into in business. As I said, it's building a business that you're inspired by, that you would love to create. Now, we can look at the successful coaches out there that are obviously successful, and we could say they did XYZ to get there. And so you could go out and you could try to do the podcast, you could try to do speaking, you could try to do workshops and groups, and you might say that I need to do all of that. If you want to do it, awesome. That's part of, like, it's in alignment with you. But if you're saying I need to do it, that's actually you subordinating to this outside authority. Because one of the top coaches in the world, he's not alive anymore. Oh gosh, I forget the name of the book, but if you guys Google it, you'll find it. I think his name is Bill something, but he was actually a sports coach. Like, he was like a football coach for, I think, at college teams and stuff. And then he wound up being the coach for the executives at Google. He wound up being like a personal development coach for Steve Jobs. Doesn't have a website. You know, he's not doing podcasts. He's had no information, no books out there. Yet he's working with some of the top individuals and companies in the world. And so why was he successful? Because he just did it the way that he loved to. And his sessions were actually held. It was really fun to read this book, by the way, guys. It's fun because it just shifts your perception, like, create what you want. He just used to have some of the sessions in a daily walk. Like, he lived close by, I think it was to Steve Jobs, or it was one of the Google execs. And every morning they would go on a walk, and that was the coaching session. session, So if that's something you love, go create it. People are paying for it. you know so be authentic, hop out of those shoulds, and really tap into like what you love, right? So that's a second one. And a third one is kind of this unrealistic expectation on yourself to have it all together, right? To almost have it all together and know everything now. As you said in the beginning, where you were saying, clients come to me and they're like, who's going to listen to me? How are they going to share? And you're like, you have genius. What are you, crazy? Like, you see it in them, which is, it's, by the way, guys, this is like the brilliance of hiring individuals to help you. Because if you can't see it in yourself, you're asking the person who can see it to make sure that you have that certainty in yourself as well. Like, that's the purpose. Like, we see it in you and we want to pull it out. But remember, it's like, you're not, you're having this expectation to be the person at the highest level, and you're not there yet. And that's okay. That's okay. We're all going to work at different stages with different people. The people that you're starting with today are not going to be the people that you're working with in 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to be different because you're going to evolve, you're going to learn more, and then different people who want that different knowledge are going to come forward in the future. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. You evolve with your clients. So just get started, because there are so many people out there that want what you have now, and you have a bit of a confirmation bias on your information because you've been highly focused on what you're teaching or what you're sharing. You think it's common sense, and it's not. I was just talking to a health coach the other day, and she was talking about just like the gut and the digestive system, and she's sharing everything. And I said, I don't think you realize like what you're saying is not common knowledge, and it clicked in her head in that moment. And I said, you don't, because she's thinking she has to share all this crazy stuff, right? I said, you don't have to share a lot of stuff. Most people don't even know what you're talking about right now. If you just gave them what you told me and put a webinar into that, you would change people's lives. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're right. So all that simple information that you have that you think is common sense, nobody else knows because they're not spending the time and energy that you are on it. So start with what you know, let what you know grow, and the same with your clients. Give them what you know now, and as you grow, you'll have some clients that stay with you forever, and you'll have some that dissipate because they want a different type of knowledge. But there's, what is it, like almost 8 billion people on the planet. Like, you got this, guys. I guarantee you people want what you have. 8 billion people. I guarantee you. I guarantee it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was such great information. I was sitting here just thinking, and that's why I like podcasting, because even though I want you guys to learn, I love these conversations as well, because I'm like, yes, people want what I have. And I definitely agree. When you start out, you got a certain clientele, and then some grow with you, and then some go away, and you get a whole new crop of people. And it's just an amazing experience. That's just one of the beauties of entrepreneurship. You are able to touch so many lives in different parts of your journey. You're able to grow as a person. You're able to show up uniquely as yourself. Like, oh my gosh, it makes me light up just listening to you. I'm gonna probably go back and listen to this podcast again, because it's just been filled with so much joy, right? Good information, yes, but joy, positivity, and just the understanding that we're all uniquely made. But that is so amazing, so amazing, with the perceived good and the perceived bad, because whatever you are, however you come out in the world, doesn't even matter, because people are like, oh, this is good or bad. It's whatever. It's amazing. And so, oh my gosh, thank you so much for all of those great tips. I'm on a high, y'all. I'm just sitting here like, ah. I don't know about you, but I feel more relaxed. I'm like, oh, this feels nice. This feels lovely. I'm sure that your clients also feel the same. Like, I can't imagine if I had you as a coach, like every day being like, ah, breath of
That's
fresh
the
air,
purpose.
clarity. Yes, awesome. Well, I thank you for this conversation. Before we go, I always like to allow you to, give us any last thoughts, and also definitely tell people how can they get in touch with you, because somebody wants to have you in their life in some way, shape, or form. So let them know how they can do that.
Yeah, thank you. And definitely, guys, no matter what, last thought is dedicate your life to fulfilling your purpose, being on your mission, and you will be the most inspired. You will be the most motivated in that area of life, and you will feel the most successful because you'll do whatever it takes to overcome all your challenges. So that's the most important one. And feel free to contact me. The website is the best one, carlypepin.com. It has all my information. You can find all my social media handles and even information just to contact me directly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. Thank you for bringing your joy and expertise to us and our listeners. And guys, if you enjoyed this podcast and want to hear more podcasts just like it, feel free to go back and listen to some of our previous episodes. And remember, a new podcast drops every single week where we're bringing you an expert that specializes in something that can benefit you and your small business. But guys, remember, I rock, you rock, we all rock, and I will talk to you next time.